Hello and welcome to Money for Economics episode 4. In this episode, we'll talk about justice. If you want to get in touch, my email is in the top left corner of the screen. Okay, so who can release immediately? So when there's a system change, the new system party or organization it tries to release a lot of prisoners that it views were unjustly imprisoned. Some categories are basically thieves and basically anything from petty theft to elaborate schemes. As long as there's no physical harm to the victim, I think these prisoners can actually be released. Another group of people that fits into this is drug users and dealers. Some dealers they might sell or produce poisonous substances, so you can make the case that they should be in prison because they're endangering the lives of the drug users. But I think they as well can be looked into and released. So there's a lot of definitions, criteria for the concept of political prisoners. Some of them are being an extremist or radical, being a member in a banned political organization, and being accused of terrorism where you actually haven't committed any terrorism. So these people can also be released. Why are we releasing a lot of people immediately? Well, it's to basically just reduce the prison population and to effectively release the people who shouldn't be in jail. So it's a two in one, and then obviously there's more philosophy behind that as well. Prison conditions. So it's not economically impossible to have really good prison conditions. So that includes televisions, showers, toilets, spacious cells. Prisoners should also have welfare services like libraries, computers, telephones. Their fitness should be kept up by daily fitness exercises, gym sessions, swimming pool sessions. Prisoners should produce they should have an occupation while they're in prison. So that means they can contribute socially in ways like producing food, quarrying, working on assembly lines, assembling things like electronics, things like that. Capital punishment. I'm very against capital punishment. That includes life sentences, death penalties, and torture, and obviously police brutality resulting in murder as well. So just because the state is doing it doesn't mean it's not the taking of life. And people they think that the state should be able to do it, but that the people shouldn't be do it. But in my opinion, it's all the same thing. It's the taking of life. Life sentences, while they're sort of conducive to preventing criminals on life sentences, serving life sentences from doing that again, I think that needs to be looked into as well. So countries they have different courts for different areas. They may have different courts for different sort of areas of the case. Like some courts have a mission to do this part of the case, this and that. First thing I would say is the best thing to do is to have just one main court and to actually have it as one branch of the government in sort of in a way, in a constitutional way. And that means that there won't be any more dispersed courts. There also won't be prisons in every area. There'll just be some national prisons and one main court. First reason is because these different courts they may have different rulings on the same problem. So one can sentence a murderer to several decades, the other can release a murderer and not put him in prison, right? The second reason is that these courts they can become corrupt. They can start chasing prison quotas. They can, if they're corrupted by some form of interest group, then these courts will effectively do the bidding of the organized crime group. So some countries they have presidential pardons. The head of state basically can say, "I want to pardon this guy," but I think we should do the inverse. I think the head of state should sign off all the cases and take final responsibility for the lives of the prisoners. And then with that, it's like when people like journalists or NGOs are looking into um, what the court is doing, they can sort of keep their energy focused. It's not like There's this discrepancy here in this sector, in this area. It's all just one court, and it's all just one justice record. Prisonable offenses. This main court building, it should handle only criminal cases. Civil and constitutional ones should be handled by the government without the need to apply force in civil judgments and stuff like that. Prisonable offenses, as I said, if I remember in the beginning of this video, I think the only people who should be in prison are people who have done deliberate harm to someone. We can look at premeditation and intent. We can look at high and low crimes. High crimes are just a few. I can name a few, but I won't mention them here. Religious laws. So some religions, they have laws and they have conditions for the creation of religious courts. I think the government should claim monopoly on crimes, on just for crimes, and then it should devolve some civil areas, civil law areas to the religious governments, but that has to be by law. And if people want to be tried by a religious court, obviously both the victim and the perpetrator need to be expressly agreed to be tried by a religious court and not the state one. So religious court sessions, they can be held in the main court building as well. Limits on imprisonment. I think 20 years imprisonment is quite a lot of time, and I think it gives people a second chance, and I'm not entirely sure if I think that's a good or bad idea, but I would say it should be done. We don't want elderly people to be in prisons. We want to release everyone who's over 50 years old. All the released should go on parole, agree to not commit things they've done in terms of the crime that they committed. Also, we can look into this thing of not being arrested before committing a crime. That's highly linked to political imprisonment. Penal military service. So some countries, they have these military units that are full of basically prisoners. In times of war, we know that some countries have conscripted prisoners in exchange to lower the amount of jail time that they're serving. Penal military units are a legitimate social contribution in my way, and they're also good because we can reduce the prison population. These units are based on trust of officers, means that if any of these prisoners they breach faith or discipline, they can be expelled from the unit. These units could be used as highly trained shock troops, like in the French Foreign Legion, or they can be relegated to minor duties, non-frontal combat duties, and not be equipped with weapons. So this slide shows you. I won't talk about it, but you can pause and read it. It shows you the new system. Finally, let's look at the comments. Youth crime deserves its own video. I don't have much to say to that. Number 2, so we want to demolish old prison court infrastructure to get rid of that spirit of imprisonment and court and stuff like that. Case law, it can be used for defense or prosecution. Former prisoners cannot be banned from things like voting and education. Thank you for watching.